Hello, everyone. Okay, so I'm giving you a brief introduction to the lab that will be on ash and fat. Actually, it's part of our all proximate analyses, all of the proximate analyses we're doing, including moisture, ash, fat, protein. We did moisture already. This coming week, we're doing ash and fat, and then next week, we're doing the protein analysis lab. So, the objectives of this week is, like I said, determining ash content of your food samples using muffle furnace. So each group still is working with their own assigned sample to determine ash content. And we're also going to determine fat content using two methods. We talked about them in class, the Soxhlet method, which is a semi-continuous method, semi-continuous solvent extraction method, and the Mojiner method, which is a discontinuous solvent extraction method. Here's a note in red. This is very important for all of you, not just for the cheese groups. So the cheese samples, all of them, processed cheese, cheddar cheese, and Parmesan cheese, have been pre-dried. We removed the moisture for fat analysis with Soxhlet only, and ash analysis. For Mojiner, the cheese are going to be analyzed as is without drying. But for ash and Soxhlet, the cheeses are dried. So the value that you will get for ash and fat, this is going to be on dry basis. In your addendum, there is an equation to calculate, convert dry bases to wet bases and also wet bases to dry bases. So you really want to know which samples were analyzed on dry bases using which assay, because all of you are going to get the data and all of you are going to do the calculations for all the samples, not just your sample. So if it's your sample, you have to pay attention and know that the cheese samples values for ash and Soxhlet fat content, these are on dry basis. So you want to make sure to report them in the table that says dry basis and convert them to wet basis for the table that says on wet basis. So make note of that. Again, I say write it down in your lab notebooks for all of you, not just the cheese group samples. Cheeses for ash analysis and fat analysis using Soxhlet only will be on dry basis. All the cheeses using Mojiner fat analysis will be as is basis on wet basis. So I want you to make sure that you read your addendum, you pay attention to the equations, you look at the summary tables that you need to put in the lab report, and make sure you know which value to report in which table. Wet basis, dry basis, make sure you do the right, correct calculation. Okay, so have a look at the tables in the Excel sheet that I will be sending you, or you probably, but when you watch this video, you already received that Excel sheet. You'll see there is a spreadsheet for ash, and it tells you what information you need to write down or enter for each of the samples. For ash, you would have to plug in the crucible number, the weight of the crucible, weight of the sample, and then the next day you'll come back to weigh the crucible with the ash in it. And you can get the ash content by subtracting the weight of the crucible from weight of the crucible plus ash. For fat, using Soxhlet, you have to take the weight of the thimble plus sample, the thimble plus sample plus glasswell, and then you subtract the thimble plus sample. You subtract the thimble weight from it to get the sample weight, and the next day you take the you take the weight of the extracted sample. That means the sample that we removed the fat from, or by extracting using the solvent, So it would be in the thimble. So you take the measurement or the weight of the extract sample in the thimble along with the glass wool, and you subtract that figure from the thimble plus sample plus glass wool. The difference would be the weight of your fat. For Mojiner, for some groups, such as the cheese samples, these will be prepared for you the day before the lab. So these samples will be solubilized in ammonium hydroxide before you come into the lab. So you would have the TA would write down the sample weights for you, and you will be weighing your aluminum dish, and then when you extract the fat and evaporate the solvent, you end up with the fat in the aluminum dish, and you take the weight of that. The difference would be the weight of the fat in that sample. For the baby cereal whole, I think, okay, so you don't have whole wheat flour. This is not correct here. I will update it. So baby cereal, almond, Cheerios, and I can't remember what the last one was. But anyway, those samples, you will be digesting them in the lab and following the same protocol, digesting them with HCl, and then following the same protocol to extract the fat, and you will put in the weights. Okay, so with that, that should be all that you need to know. There are videos for demonstrating the sock slit, the vagina, and the ash analysis, which you will be watching.